Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I am fired up. I met James a few months ago. We've become very close. We have a lot of same ideals. But you're going to meet today Kevin O'Connor. He is a Nashville Music Row singer, songwriter, Christian chaplain, podcaster, coach, and 10 million other things. Oh, I'm kidding. But he does a lot because he definitely serves his people. James, welcome to the call.
Steve, thank you for having me on your show. I'm really appreciating it.
You betcha. And it's called a podcast. So everybody out there, podcast show, call. So James,
there we go.
Singer songwriter. Let's start with your beginning. What did you start with? We've got 1, 2, 3, 5 titles here. Where did your journey in business start?
I'm actually a past electrical contractor and telecommunication contractor. But through the years, I stopped that in 2014, I believe, was when that career ended. And this one took off like full blast. And I had been writing pretty much my whole adult life, singing, writing, performing. I've been in studios in California, New Jersey area, I think New York probably a couple of times. So I've been around with really a bunch of very talented people throughout my life who have been helping me build my musical career. And I ended up doing 3 full-length albums on Music Row in Nashville over the last 4, 5 years, I guess it is now. So I'm ready for number 4 coming out soon. So along that journey, so many things have happened when I started going to Nashville. And I just met with so many terrific people and had so many experiences of the way they do things down there. It's really stunning to watch the talent that is in that city and comes out and just takes your song and makes you realize, beyond what your vision was in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've had some great experiences with that.
Yeah, and Nashville, of course, is the country music capital of the world, I've heard. I'm not a big music guy, so I'm learning today as we're talking. But why music? Give them a million other things. Why music?
Music has been with me. I mean, I kind of saved my life, actually, because, I came from a very busy household. We're 9 people in a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom, 7 kids all in a row, 6 boys. I had some struggles growing up. I left home at a pretty early age, doing battles with my father and things like that. And I ended up sleeping in my car and the Shell station ladies' room as a 17-year-old.
Wow.
And what I say is, I went through struggles, which I won't get into all the struggles, but they were really difficult times for me. Went through depressions and all kinds of things, but music saved my life, because once I found it, or it found me, I was just relentless with playing and writing. I started writing immediately when I picked up a guitar, and I haven't really stopped since. So that quest led me to discovery and led me to salvation of me, and eventually connected me to the Lord in a big way. So I spent a couple of years living in Nashville pre-pandemic, which is a funny thing. I went down there and I rented this big house to figure out, where am I going to be? I wasn't really sure. And I was outside the city in Nashville, and, I said, oh, my family can come and visit, I have this big house and everything. And then the pandemic hits. So guess who came to visit? Nobody.
Oh, no. Oh.
So, or very few. I mean, you had hardly any guests because, we were all locked down. It was a crazy time. But I appreciated being down there and appreciated all the places I ended up, all the friendships I established. My favorite place Sunday morning was the Nashville Rescue Mission, serving 500 homeless men who were just, come in with no shoes sometimes and 1 leg, 1 arm. And some of these people taught you about gratitude because they had nothing, and they had come in with a big smile on their face and say, good morning, thanks for being here to serve me. And if that's not a humbling experience, I don't know what is. So it became my church, essentially, to go there on Sunday mornings. So yeah, so that was the Nashville scene. Really, really great time I had, even though we were in a pandemic. I was doing my podcasting the whole time while I was down there. So, and I did make some inroads with meeting PR agents and so forth in town. They actually started referring me people for my show. So it wasn't a total loss just because it was the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, that's true serving, the story you told about the mission. That's you are actually were serving. And audience, this is what this is all
Yeah.
about. Check the show notes because you're going to want to reach out to James. And one reason you're going to reach out to James, let's talk a little bit about your coaching. You got some wonderful things that you can help people with.
Yeah. One of the things, as we know, we met through a coaching platform, Steve, and the things that people, I've been getting coached for on and off for over 20 years. And I'm back in it now again as a recipient, but I decided I had put this book out about a year ago called 7 Steps to Mental Freedom. And it's all about helping people with depression. So when I went to start marketing it, I went on some of these Facebook groups where the depression groups and anxiety groups. And what I saw shocked me. People were just like saying things like, I can't do this. I'm not going to make it. What do I do? And so I started, like instead of marketing the book, I started like counseling them. Try this technique, try that, something to make them feel better. And it led me to say, I need to start doing this for people in a bigger way, in a more professional way. So I started my own coaching practice. And what I do is a lot of things that other people don't look at, which is mindset, paradigms, goal setting, all the things that you need to move out of your own way. The old saying is like, we always get in our own way. And that's true of most everybody. We're our worst enemy, but we don't know it. And so, my mission is to help clear the field and get it to where you're in a healthy place where you can start living, the elevated life, the real you that you want to become, without all these things dragging you down, like your paradigm gets in the way and stops you and says, no, you're only supposed to make this much money every year. You're only supposed to have these type of friendships. We have these limitations that are self-imposed. So my mission for coaching is to strip all that away and elevate you to the place that you really want to go.
Let's go through a quick 5-minute. I'm your potential client. I am your client, actually. And, what are the steps? Let's talk about the journey I'm going to go through working with you as a coach.
Okay. So, Steve, tell me about yourself. Obviously, you've got this great doing business with a servant's heart. Tell me about, like, where do you want to go with this business? Like, what are your goals?
I'd love to get, 1 million subscribers learning every week from my guests. So that's my goal, 1 million guests.
Okay, 1 million guests. That's quite an aspiration. So how do you intend on getting there?
Advertising, sharing with family and friends, social media, those type of things.
Okay. Now, your present income, are you satisfied with your income where it is right now?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And let's fast forward. Let's go a year from now. Where do you want to go, your income wise, like by next year, this time?
I'd like to make $1 million in income.
Okay. Okay. Why just 1 million? Why not 2 million?
Great question, James. I millions in my head, but you're right. Why not 5 million? You're right.
Okay. So let's put the floor at 1 million and let's put the ceiling at 5 million. What do you say to that?
Okay. I love it. I'm excited.
Okay. Okay. So if I can help you get to that, would you work with me?
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes.
Okay. And we're gonna have to change some things. Like for starters, you said $1 million. Why didn't you say 5 million? I'm gonna change that for you. We're gonna shift that. We're gonna work on your self-image and make sure that you are going for the gusto because you deserve
Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
it. Right.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Sign on the dotted line now.
Yeah. No, and we'll stop there. And I get it. This is
But
listeners, audience.
I
Go
just
ahead.
went through this with some woman in the UK, and I asked her, I said, I was on the same track that we just went through. And I asked her, I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to this goal, which we just discussed, and working with me? She goes, a 7. I said, no, it should be 11. What are you doing?
Amen.
And I said,
Amen.
see, I said, you're underscoring my point. You're valuing yourself so low. And I said, I've heard you sing. I've heard the songs you've written. You are killer. You should be thinking that you are this killer songwriter strutting down the street, and you don't have that image of yourself. So that, we have to change that first of all. And then we work on your paradigm shift. And this is what we all go through, but you can't do it on your own.
5 minutes. You've got me going from 1 million to 5 million. I never would have thought of 5 million. Never thought of it.
Listen,
now.
you're a master salesperson, Steve. I mean, in the short time that I've known you, you've taught me things that I was like, kind of like just blown away of knowing what to do and then taking action. And if you've ever listened to Tony Robbins, which most of us have heard of Tony or listened to him, and I was studying him back in the 80s when he first came out with his videotapes. And one of the things that always stuck with me, he said, the people that really, the difference between the people who change the world are the ones who take action. He said, that's 90% of it. Just take action on your thoughts and your ideas. Don't, we all do this. Well, after the new year, I'll do this, or it's always the after I, and then I'll do it. There's always some garbage in the way, which is they're just weak excuses.
So you're telling me what I'm hearing from you, James, I'm getting really excited right now, that even if you took action, you need that help behind it.
Yeah.
You need that coach, that person that gets you, that can help you walk you that journey. Just saying, hey, I'm going to make $5 million. There's steps I got to do. And I believe in coaching. I'm an ex-athlete. Coaching is the only way it made me a good athlete. I love this. Listeners, listen to this.
Even the greatest coaches have a coach. Tony Robbins has a coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you look at Tom Brady. Why is he so good? He's probably got 9 coaches,
Yeah.
But one of the most powerful things you can do is you have to attack that paradigm that keeps grabbing you and bringing you back to that same space. That, why am I always in this same spot? And the most important, there's 2 ways you can overcome that. And one is repetition of positive thought of where you want to go, and elite coaching. Those are the only 2 things that'll do it. You have to repeat, and you have to stay on it, and you have to stay on it and stay on it until you overwhelm the paradigm. And then you start to rise and you start to go for your goals. So,
everybody, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got to say, everybody out there, reach out. James, you'll do a discovery call with anybody that reaches out to you from this podcast, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, he'll jump on. 30-minute call. What will you do? 15-minute call? What do you want to do?
We'll do 30 minutes. And if it goes a little longer, we'll do that too. But, I want to, let's see if we're a good fit to work together. And I think I can really, really help you as of your decision to say, I'm kind of done with the same old. You got to just decide. And, there's no risk talking to me. And, 2 of the things I can promise you, you hang out with me, your life will get better. You hang out with me, your income will go up.
Hey, man, I love that. I love it. I'm going to start hanging out with you more. I've just decided that. I made a decision.
All right, brother.
And now the other thing I want to talk about, because I love having podcasters on there, you've got a long-standing podcast. Let's talk about that and what your goal is with that, what you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, the dHarmic evolution the name came from my yoga days, which I stopped during the pandemic. I've been doing yoga for over 15 years. I did 6 years of vinyasa, or 6 years of Bikram. I did another 8 of vinyasa flow. And then the pandemic turned me into a runner, because I said, I'm not sitting around waiting for this. So I'm dying to get back. But the Dharma came from, that's a yoga expression. You're living your Dharma, which is like your most perfect life. And the dHarmic evolution is really, it's your evolution of where you're going in your life and how you're approaching your best life. It's living to your complete, living to your completion, your highest level. And so that's what the dharmic evolution is. And I started it as a singer songwriter. I wanted to interview indie singer songwriters from around the world, and we got into the UK and South Africa and the Netherlands and on and on. And so we've been in a lot of countries around the world, having guests come on. And then I started to migrate toward authors, speakers, and thought leaders, because I started another project with my agency, which is the James O'Connor Agency, in which I write with a partner, a songwriting partner. We write branded songs for authors, speakers, and thought leaders. And we actually include them in the royalty stream as a writing partner. They finance the song. I take it to my team in Nashville on Music Row, and we write and build and do a beautiful, amazing 24 track, like a powerful song that represents that person's brand. And then they can take it out on the road. Instead of playing the Temptations on the way up to the podium to speak, they play their own branded song. And you can just take that concept and you can go anywhere with it, doing campaigns, doing, any kind of marketing things you want to do with it. And the cool thing is that, whatever happens to that song, some artist picks it up and puts it on their album, like I did with a couple of the songs that I wrote. I was doing an album at the time, and I asked the author, would you like this song on my album? And I happened to be the vocalist. So they said, yeah, absolutely. And so, but if I'm not the vocalist, which I don't need to be on every song, it might not be appropriate. I will find somebody who is a killer singer to go on your song. So it's just another thing that came out of the podcast, and as you know, Steve, when you do a podcast, all kinds of things happen. Like, you meet people and like ideas occur to you that you didn't even think about. And it becomes a really dynamic place to be. And every day there's some new adventure or some new connection that leads you to something you didn't even think about.
Yeah, so this is incredible branding with music. I never thought about that. This is powerful. Is it any industry? I'm thinking a governor, going for a campaign for his governorship, or a virtual clown. I mean, can it go across the board?
It can, yeah. I targeted authors, speakers, and thought leaders because I wanted somebody who has a brand, like not just
Okay.
one book, but like has a whole brand. Like, for instance, alumni professor Scott Geller from Virginia Tech University, we wrote a branded song for him because he has this brand called Actively Caring for People, where if somebody witnesses somebody like helping an old woman across the street, and you remember you have a wristband on that has a unique identifier. It's like a green rubber band. You take it off and you give it to that person and say, thank you very much for actively caring for somebody. And they go to the website, they go home and they type that number in, and there was an actively caring person doing something. And it's been kind of going around the world. So we wrote a song, a branded song, and produced it and mastered it. And it's called Here to Care and Share. And he's thrilled with it, and he sends it out to all his teams, and they go around and they speak around the country and around the world, actually. So it has the reach for that. So it can go to private groups, it can go to nonprofits, it can really be served anywhere.
Just got to have a brand, and I can understand. So authors
Yeah.
out there, speakers, people with large brands, reach out to James. Let's get,
Yeah.
I mean, what a fabulous way. I could see Walk Up, a unique song that ties to your brand. What better marketing than that?
Yeah, and all of this it all kind of flows from, if you look at all the things I do, I may sound like a kind of a serial silo creator, like a maniac, but it all has a common thread, which is music. And a lot of it is, some of it is secular music, but a lot of it is also Christian music, which
Yeah.
I write, I go for like sort of pop rock. That seems to be my wheelhouse. Sometimes I tone it down to some, acoustic Americana, but I'm in that kind of realm there. But, God keeps pointing you to wherever you need to go. And sometimes you just think about, like, I'm not sure about this. And then you wait and you wait, you pray a little bit and you just wait. And then like I said to you the other day, God always sets the table. All we need to do is sit down and eat the meal. It's that easy.
Love it. So I'll never
And
forget that phrase. I'll never forget when you told me that. It's written up here. So, well,
yeah,
I want to, James, I want to thank you. We're running out of time here, but you're an incredible person. You have a lot of silos, but your whole main goal is serving people. And that I'm
yes.
blessed. I always like to end my podcast with a tip. You've had struggles. You lived in a bathroom. Tell the audience some tip that got you to where you are today and will get you to where you're going to go in 2023.
Yeah, if you have a passion, a fire inside of you, never let that go out, and never ever ever give up. I mean, just keep to what you know. And if we take the time and just intuitively, we always know what's right for us. Don't get carried away on advice from everybody. It is good to get advice from people, but you have to filter that and synthesize it and say, what do I come back to? Like, you always intuitively know the answer. So, take stock in that. And don't forget, when you're in trouble, ask the Lord for help. If you ask him, he will help you.